Well, hello again. Welcome back to Professor Snyder's. That's me. Music Biz News. Meta, which is Facebook, Meta's former head of global affairs, Nick Clegg, said asking for permission from rights owners to train AI models would basically kill the AI industry in this country overnight. And he was referring to England. And this made me feel a little déjà vu. I feel like we've been here before. Here's an article from 2019. Oversharing. How Napster nearly killed the music industry. The idea of free music was so compelling that up to 80 million users downloaded Napster and broke the law. The aftershocks are still being felt today. Now, I remember back when I learned about Napster and MP3 files and how they were considered to be this deep threat to the music industry. It was free, everybody was using it, and the record labels were freaking out and suing teenagers. If you want to listen to the song Killing Me Softly by the Fugees, it'll cost you $1.29 on iTunes, but for Joel Tenenbaum, Killing Me Softly is going to cost a little bit more, $21,000. That's because this song was one of 31 he put on an illegal pirated playlist back in 2003. And the record labels also sued the tech companies. While A&M Records served as the lead plaintiff, Napster was sued by 18 different record labels. So you may be too young to remember the good old days, back when the evil Napster and Kazaa and MP3.com had used the technology, MP3 technology, to allow anybody to upload a whole CD to the internet and then everybody could copy it. In other words, music was free. Napster was an American proprietary peer-to-peer file sharing application primarily associated with digital audio file distribution, founded by Sean Fanning and Sean Parker. The platform originally launched on June 1st, 1999. Audio shared on the service was typically encoded in the MP3 format. As the software became popular, the company encountered legal difficulties over copyright infringement. Artists like Metallica and Dr. Dre and a bunch of others, they all got together and made public statements about how this was destroying their livelihoods, much like Paul McCartney and Elton John is doing today about AI. The response by the tech companies like Napster was, the media companies are launching a full tilt assault on taking away fair use rights from consumers. The reason they are doing that is because they are after for greater amounts of control over how consumers use media. Sound familiar? But during this lawsuit, when the record labels were suing these tech companies, there was a twist. Bertelsmann, BMG, Bertelsmann Music Group, was sort of going behind everybody else's back in the lawsuit and negotiating a partnership with the tech companies, especially Napster. The revolution was subsidized by the Germans. The mainstreaming of Napster and the capitulation of big music to the looming future of a music business without $15 plastic disc began Tuesday with a surprise deal between the online free music outlaw, Napster, and German publishing giant Bertelsmann, the big record label BMG. In the end, Napster lost, and BMG didn't gain anything by going behind everybody else's backs. So fast forward to today, 2025. Instead of Kazaa and Napster, Udio and Suno are being sued by the major record labels. Sony, Universal, and Warner. And they're being sued for copyright infringement because of AI. And because they have been scraping all of the music on the internet to be used to train AI. Suno and Udio have been. So again, the record labels are suing the tech companies. Meanwhile, while they're suing them, they also, just like BMG did, are trying to partner with these companies, excluding all the other labels that are out there. Major record labels have shifted from legal crusaders to would-be business partners in the space of a year when Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, and Sony Music filed copyright infringement suits against AI startups Suno and Udio last summer. The industry assumed a bruising court fight was inevitable. The same companies are at the table hammering out AI music licensing deals that would let the startups keep training on label catalogs, provided the labels, and eventually their artists get paid. So again, the labels are speaking up for the poor artists and their music and wanting them to get paid, but this is without letting everybody know exactly what that compensation might look like. These talks are not just about settling a lawsuit. They are about setting the rules, or perhaps abandoning them, for how copyrighted music is used in training AI, how future licensing structures might look, and who gets to be in the room when those decisions are made. For many artists, this is déjà vu, not the good kind. Meanwhile, outside the courts, the lobbyists for the big tech companies who oversee this development of AI are going to Congress and convincing the politicians to not regulate AI. House Republicans surprised tech industry watchers and outraged state governments when they added a clause to the Republican signature Big Beautiful Tax Bill that would ban states and localities from regulating artificial intelligence for a decade. The brief consequential provision, tucked into the House Energy and Commerce Committee's sweeping markup, would be a major boon to the AI industry, which has lobbied for uniform and light touch regulation as tech companies develop a technology they promise will transform society. And the same is true in England. We have a chance to prevent AI decimating Britain's creative industries, but it's slipping away. So what does this mean for those of you who use Suno? If you look at the contract, you'll notice that if you're using the free version, that everything that you make is owned by Suno and can be used for non-commercial purposes. Owned by Suno. So if the record labels partner with Suno and Udio, does this mean that all the music that you create using these AI tech companies actually will immediately be owned by the record label? And if that's the case, then what's the point of signing new artists if AI can spit out songs that sound familiar to most anybody, and then they don't have to deal with copyright issues and they don't have to deal with those pesky rock stars? Napster is gone. Spotify now makes all music available for anybody to listen to anytime they want. And like when millions of MP3s were already online and being downloaded before the record labels began to respond or try to contain the technology, today AI has already scraped most every song that's ever been on the internet. It's already done. It's a done deal. And there's no way, I think, that the record labels or artists will be able to contain this technology. So what does that mean? With no way to stop the onslaught of AI music, the industry is taking a different approach, figuring out how to make money from it. Same thing they did with MP3s and file sharing and downloading. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe and share and do all those things. Thanks.
The day the music